full flight was paid for. Cameras were set up. A major platform was ready. And then, nothing. No trailer, no clips, no announcement, just silence. A podcast episode that was supposed to finally let Ashley speak to millions never aired, and the way it disappeared raised more questions than anything she's ever said out loud. Ashley didn't come to the US for fun. The purpose was clear. This was meant to be a face-to-face conversation with family on record, where she could finally explain her side without being cut off or talked over. She even thanked Tamar publicly for making it happen. No anger, no chaos. Just hope that this time, her voice would actually stay in the room. But once people realized the episode never dropped, the timeline started to look strange. And then word spread that legal paperwork had been sent almost immediately after the interview. Production stopped, the episode was pulled, and the story vanished again. What made this hit harder was that this wasn't some random moment out of nowhere. To people who followed Ashley's story, this felt familiar. Every time she gets close to being heard on a bigger level, something steps in and shuts it down. And the timing this time felt almost too clean. No public explanation, no statement, just pressure behind the scenes and silence up front. And that silence made people start asking the questions no one wanted to answer. Because this story didn't start with a podcast, it started years ago, long before viral clips, long before social media turned pain into trending topics. Ashley began speaking after her sister passed away. That loss pushed her to finally talk about what she says happened inside her home when she was young. And the part that stood out to many people was consistency. Over the years, her story hasn't changed. Same details, same emotions, same message. Which is why some viewers were confused when family members recently acted shocked, as if this was brand new information. That reaction didn't land the way it might have been intended. To a lot of people watching, it didn't feel like confusion. It felt calculated. If Ashley has been public about this for years, how could anyone truly be unaware? That gap between what she's been saying for a long time and how the family is now responding is where public trust started to crack. Ashley has always said this wasn't about being strict or discipline taken the wrong way. She describes a home filled with fear, a stepmother who mistreated her in ways that left emotional scars, moments that made her feel humiliated and unsafe. She says she told her father what was happening. She says she begged for help, but nothing changed. At night, she says she would hear screaming and physical fights in the next room. Chaos that no child should have to process. And as a kid, she felt trapped between two impossible choices: stay quiet and survive, or speak up and make everything worse. What made it even harder was how normal everything looked from the outside. To neighbors, schools, and anyone watching from afar, the household appeared stable and successful. Her father worked in healthcare. Her stepmother played the role of a perfect parent in public. Ashley says when she tried to speak to school counselors, the family's image made it almost impossible to be believed. And when a child realizes their truth can't compete with an adult's reputation, silence starts to feel safer than honesty. Some family members did try to step in, a few aunts, a grandmother. At times, they confronted what they believed was happening. But Ashley says each time, her father shut it down. He made it clear that no one else had a say in his house. That was the moment she says she realized it was just her and her sister against the situation. For a long time, she only blamed the stepmother. It took years before she understood that the silence from the other adult in the room was just as damaging. Ashley was also the oldest. She says there were moments when her younger siblings hid under her bed while chaos filled the house. She became a shield without ever being taught how to survive what she was shielding them from. Being told as a child that you're the reason your own mother left does something to the mind. Carrying that weight into adulthood without help shapes how you see yourself, how you trust, how you protect your peace. Fast forward to now, and that same child is finally speaking without fear. In her recent videos, Ashley makes it clear this isn't about attention. She says staying quiet was destroying her from the inside. Speaking feels like breathing again. She admits the story doesn't always come out perfectly. Sometimes it's scattered, sometimes emotions take over, but each time she speaks, the weight gets lighter. One of the strongest messages she shares is directed at mothers and aunts. She says when a child comes to you and says something is wrong, that moment matters. Believing a child doesn't mean tearing a family apart. It means protecting the person with the least power in the room. She says she never felt safe in her own home, and she never wants another child carrying that same fear in silence. What complicates everything is the family's response. Despite hints over the years that something wasn't right, the family still appears to protect Ashley's father, and that protection has fueled public anger. Many people now believe the family cares more about their name than the pain behind the story. That belief only grew stronger after the podcast episode was erased. No explanation, no accountability, just legal pressure and disappearance. Public comments from family members added fuel to the fire. Expressions of shock and doubt didn't sit well with fans who've been hearing Ashley say the same thing for years. If the story has been circulating for that long, how could anyone truly be blindsided? That question keeps coming up, and no one seems willing to answer it directly. Through all of this, Ashley continues to center healing instead of revenge. She says she's forgiven those involved, not because they earned it, but because she refuses to let the past live inside her forever. She talks about preparing herself for motherhood and for a future where her children don't grow up carrying what she carried. She also speaks directly to the public. She says people will judge you when you speak. Some will support you, some will turn against you. Some will say you're lying simply because your truth makes them uncomfortable. But your story still belongs to you. She reminds people that sometimes the support you need won't come from family. And that hurts, but it doesn't cancel your right to speak. What makes Ashley's story resonate so deeply is that it reflects something many families avoid talking about.